There has been an impenetrable barrier between us and the rest of the animal kingdom, a barrier of understanding and connection, the original language barrier. We have made some headway with animals like dogs who can understand simple commands, and there is currently a massive endeavor to translate the whale language into art, a subject we will talk more about in a future video. But when it comes down to sitting face to face with an animal and conversing about thoughts, feelings and emotions, we've never quite bridged the divide. However, the closest we may have ever gotten was with Coco, the western lowland gorilla. As an ambassador for her critically endangered species, Coco was world renowned for her love of cats, friendship with Robin Williams, and an incredible ability to communicate through American Sign Language. Born at the San Francisco Zoo in 1971, Coco was rejected by her mother and became severely ill. Stanford University grad student Francine Patterson soon took her into care for her and taught her sign language as part of her doctorate work in developmental psychology. After decades of work, Kako's full name was Hanapiko, which is Japanese for fireworks child, half patriotic and poetic. She lived with her mother in the zoo's gorilla troop until she was 6 months old, but she was diagnosed with an illness and had to be raised by a human family in the zoo's nursery. As she began to recover, the young gorilla caught the eye of then psychology student Francine Penny Patterson. Penny believed that Coco could be the perfect primate for a revolutionary new study. She proposed that this young gorilla could be taught to speak to humans using sign language. 6 months later, in July 1972, Coco was moved to Stanford University and Project KoKo. The study was based on the findings of a female chimpanzee named Washu, who was the first animal to acquire any kind of human language. Washu had been raised by humans since infancy, and as a part of a study in 1969, she was taught American Sign Language. But what was even more staggering was that she used these signs to communicate emotion. Until this point, that was something many had believed to be a uniquely human trait. In one incredible account from 1982, a volunteer called Catfish who worked with Washu became pregnant. Washu would often ask about Cat's pregnancy by signing baby and displayed fascination with her growing belly. Sadly, Cat miscarried. When she returned to see Washu several weeks later, she told the chimpanzee the news by signing, "My baby died." But when Washu responded, it left everyone amazed. She touched her cheek and drew a line down her face, the ACL sign for cry. Chimpanzees don't shed tears, but Washu had somehow managed to associate human crying with sadness, a surprisingly human and empathic response. It turned out Washu had also lost 2 babies after giving birth and showed signs of depression afterwards. Perhaps she understood what Cat was going through. Then before Cat left, she signed "Please person hug." It seemed like she didn't want Cat to leave without some emotional support. Because gorillas are so large and difficult to train, these primates have never been considered for a study like this before. So teaching 1-year-old Coco required a lot of help. In the first 11 months of the project, Coco was in the presence of 1 or more fluent ACL signers for 10 to 20 hours a week. They taught her the signs through 2 methods. The first was called molding, where Coco's companions would shape her hands into the right configurations and emotions. The second was called imitation, where Coco was encouraged to form the same sign after it had been used by a teacher. Coco developed a vocabulary of over 1,000 words. Coco could reason about the world, communicate her needs, and even grieve other beings. She gave us a glimpse of what great apes could be capable of. While gorillas aren't our closest living relatives, we share about 98% of our DNA with them. And even though our brains are larger and more complex, gorillas are incredibly smart. But if you were to come across a gorilla in the wild, your first thought probably wouldn't be about how nuanced and intelligent they are. Instead, you'll probably be telling yourself you've had a good run of it as your life flashed before your eyes. Gorillas aren't necessarily aggressive to humans, but you sure wouldn't want to stick around to find out because gorillas are absolutely gigantic and monstrously strong. They are one of the most impressive examples of remarkable intelligence meeting incredible strength in the animal kingdom. Gorillas are the largest of the great apes and live in equatorial Africa. These are 2 species, the eastern and western gorillas, which are separated by about 560 miles or 900 kilometers of Congo Basin forest. Each species has a lowland and upland subspecies. They live in family groups of usually 5 to 10, but sometimes as few as 2 and up to as many as 50. Gorillas are also defined by profound sexual dimorphism, with smaller females and supersized males. These giant males lead the family groups and hold the position of authority for years. They are known as silverbacks due to the saddle of gray or silver hair on the lower part of their back. And these adult males are extremely strong. An average silverback gorilla can weigh up to 180 kilograms and can easily deadlift over 450 kilograms, 2.5 times their body weight. Average humans, on the other hand, will struggle to deadlift only 1 times their body weight, but the strongest gorillas can lift much more than that. It's estimated a gorilla can lift 815 kilograms, 4 or 5 times its body weight. The human deadlift record is 501 kilograms and 3 or 5 times his body weight. So even accounting for size, gorillas are much stronger than humans. And this is despite the fact that we have a similar muscle mass to weight ratio, which is about 38 for human and gorilla male. So how are gorillas that much stronger? One reason is that the incredible weight of gorillas is supported by denser bones that are more resistant to fractures and breaks. Bones are made up of 3 different types of tissue that each perform a different function. At the ends is subchondral tissue, which is smooth to provide frictionless movement. The hard outer shell is made of compact tissue, which is strong and able to resist fracture. And the interior is cancellous or trabecular tissue, which is sponge-like and porous to allow for flexibility. Compared to humans, gorillas' cancellous tissue has a higher density, making it stronger. In addition to their bone composition allowing for their extra strength, their bone structure does so as well. Like other great apes, gorillas have straight and continuous brow ridges that stick out over their eyes, and males have something called the sagittal crest, which is a bony ridge at the top of the skull. These pronounced bones provide a more extensive muscle attachment area, which helps support weaker bones in the skull and reduces strains when chewing hard foods like steak. But the most surprising thing about a gorilla's strength is that they basically don't eat any meat at all to get this yolk. Gorillas are omnivores, but their diet consists mostly of plant matter such as stems, bamboo shoots, and fruits. The only limited amount of animals that they do consume are insects, such as ants or termites. To digest and absorb nutrients from such a fibrous food source, gorillas are equipped with an extra long gut, and their hind gut, which consists of the cecum and colon, make up about half of their total gut volume, compared to just 20% in humans. If you have ever wondered why gorillas have a big pot belly, that's why. Each day they eat about 18 kilograms of food, and much of this weight is comprised of the compound cellulose. This is a fibrous molecule that gives plants their structure and rigidity. And surprisingly, this is a secret ingredient gorillas use to get so muscular. This is surprising because cellulose itself is just made of a lot of sugar molecules chained together. There is no protein in it. Humans can't even digest cellulose. It simply passes right through us. And technically, gorillas can't either, at least not by themselves. What gorillas have that we do not is a microbiome of bacteria that do readily break down cellulose, producing digestible sugars and volatile fatty acids. These fatty acids are then taken up by the gorilla and used for energy and to synthesize complex molecules such as protein. So it's the bacteria in their gut that provides them with the protein that they need. This is a process known as hind gut fermentation and is similar to how horses and cows digest their food. And with all this brawn, when gorillas decide to start throwing punches, it can get ugly. When 2 groups meet, the leading silverbacks can sometimes engage in a fight to the death, mainly using their sharp canines to cause deep, gaping injuries. Gorillas have a bite force of 9 megapascals, stronger than a lion, grizzly bear, or spotted hyena. Western lowland gorillas have to travel to find the right food. Their day begins at dawn, and they set off into the forest, led by a silverback male. They eat as they walk along, and if they find a fruit tree, they will climb its branches to get to the fruit. Once they are done for the day, they demonstrate a remarkable behavior. Each gorilla builds a nest on the ground and sleeps there for the night. By all appearances, this looks like tool use, but scientists don't all agree. Guys, thank you for watching the video. If you wanna support us, please subscribe and like the video.